Welcome everyone to December 2024's session of Spiritual Questions Answered. And the topic for today or tonight is different experiences of consciousness. Alright, so for those of you who don't know me, my name is Ket, K-E-T. I'm the co-founder of CordyKet. And we've been involved in spiritual energy work since 2010. Right, that's just a very simple thing. To find out more about us, you can just Google us, look for CordyKet, right, and you'll find us. And this podcast or there's a playlist on YouTube, all right. This recording will be posted there. If you are watching this from YouTube, that's where it is. Okay, so I'm going to talk about these different experiences of consciousness. It came out also previously in the episode about what happens to our consciousness when we die. I talked a little about it, so that was back in that was a few months back. I think that was in July. Yeah, now it's December, so now I'm going to talk a little bit more about this consciousness and so the way I phrase it is different experiences of consciousness. So firstly, let's define consciousness. What is consciousness? Right? What's consciousness? So whatever the scientists define it. I think first of all, when we talk about consciousness, there must be a degree of awareness, right? So if we say something is conscious, that means it's aware, and so it should be capable of decision making, and this awareness and decision making is linked usually, all right. I think it should be defined whereby something has consciousness, it should have the decision awareness of an identity of self, correct? Right? If there's consciousness, but if there's like no identity or there's no awareness of own self as self, it's kind of weird, right? So we have consciousness and we have this awareness that I am me and you are you, correct? So, and from there will be decision making that is usually based on self-interest and so on. So I think this is a very basic qualification of what it means to be something that has consciousness. All right, and this topic actually stems from what happens to our consciousness when we die. Yeah, we did an episode on that, and it was quite, I'm not sure. I remember a lot of people ask questions. It's a very interesting topic, and if you're interested, you can watch it on YouTube. So now I need to talk about consciousness and different experiences of consciousness. Okay, so let's start with the basics. Okay, so basics is this. Consciousness is when something has awareness and have the ability to make decisions, and based on the idea that it is there is a self, and this self is separate from other selves, right? So yeah, so if you have questions, you can type on the chat, and Stephanie asked a good question: is consciousness a form of energy? That's a very good question. Now, so we're going to talk about consciousness. First of all, let's talk about consciousness within the human body. All right, within the human body. So within the human body, all right, let me classify consciousness. I try to classify consciousness in a way that people can understand. All right, this is actually this consciousness topic is actually very complicated. All right, it can get very complicated, but most people are not aware of it. It's only possible if you do a lot of meditation or you have a certain understanding. So within the human body, I'm just going to put it, classify it simplistically for everyone to understand. Now within the human body, of course, there is the physical. Right, there's a physical body, all right, and there is the invisible or the energy. Now this is not to say that physical don't have energy, all right. Now what I mean by this is, okay, so from physical, when we talk about consciousness, consciousness will be brain-based. All right, in general, what people experience is something that comes from the brain. Now, from the brain, you can say it goes into here, thereby you get the mind. Mind is not something, the mind is not something that is physical, but the mind, right, the mind is not confined, it's not limited by the physical, but the mind is totally reliant on the brain. If anything happens to the brain, the mind goes, all right, gone. Okay? And the mind, simplistically speaking, all right, the mind, simplistically speaking, can be split into different parts. Okay, even scientifically, psychologically, they talk about this. So, firstly, the mind, we have the conscious mind. Yes, everyone has heard of it. So, conscious mind is the mind like that people operate like 90% of the time. All right, so we make decisions. So it's all about decision making. All right, decisions, all those cognitive thinking. So in general, subconscious mind, no, conscious mind. And the next one that we have is the subconscious. All right, it's a subconscious mind. And following that, we have the unconscious mind. So the mind is based on the brain, which is physical. All right, can you get it? The mind or the minds, because it can be split into conscious, subconscious, unconscious mind. All right, is based on the brain, okay, which is physical. So this is we are talking now about consciousness within the human body. Yeah, consciousness. Let's be clear. Consciousness within the human body. So most people will experience the conscious mind. This is the one where we are experiencing. Now subconscious mind, you hear a lot about it. You read about it. We have a subconscious desires, right? If you're into NLP, neuro linguistic programming, right? There's a lot about subconscious mind, and people try to reprogram themselves. People talk about how much larger or how much more influential the subconscious mind can be. It is the iceberg concept, all right, conscious. So in the iceberg concept, let me, right, so in the iceberg concept, you have the iceberg, right, and you have the water, all right. So basically so this is the water. Whatever is on top is the conscious mind, but what is below in the iceberg, right? What is below is the subconscious and the unconscious, and it's way more bigger than the whatever is visible and floating. So this is the general concept that people talk about when they talk about subconscious, unconscious. Now, how do we actually split? So now this may be so basically in the school of psychiatry and psychology, they have their own definition. Right? There are some schools they just divide between conscious and subconscious. All right, and that's it. There are some they will divide like conscious, subconscious, unconscious. All right. So for us, we believe in this model, and we're using a model that is a little bit more catered to our understanding of the mind, our experience of the mind. Especially for those of you who know us, we do a lot of energy healing, and that includes mental. So for me, I find that when we do energy healing, this model works better. All right, I find that when experiencing the mind, there's a conscious, a subconscious, a unconscious, and quite a lot more things. But I'm going to just keep it simple here. Okay, so now, how do we differentiate these three levels of mind? So conscious mind is when we are awake. Yeah, we are making decisions. We have the general awareness, decision making. Now, subconscious and unconscious. First of all, we talk about unconscious mind first. Okay. Now, the unconscious mind is said to be the most important part of our mind, or linked to the most important part of the brain. So when we're talking about the unconscious mind or the unconscious brain, let me ask you, when you're breathing, are you conscious? Do you have to keep telling yourself, in, out, in, out? You don't, right? Maintenance of your body temperature is handled by your brain. And if you're talking about the mind, it's the unconscious mind which is handling it. The unconscious part. Our digestion and everything. So all this belongs to the unconscious part of our mind, and of course our mind is linked to our brain. Okay? Just that our mind is something, people talk about the mind. Bear in mind, the mind is something that is I call the mind the invisible aspect of the brain. All right, because people can see visions in their mind's eye and so on. They have a lot of things going on in the mind, but it's not exactly something physical. All right, it's something that's very intangible, invisible. Okay, so now unconscious mind is where a lot of the processes, bodily processes, and other stuff that are happening, right, that we take for granted. That is a simple example. That is a simple example. There are there can be other examples. I'll just try to keep this easy for everyone to understand. Okay, and then you have the subconscious mind. Now, the subconscious mind is interesting because the subconscious mind is considered, all right? So we have the conscious, decision-making, cognitive. Unconscious mind is where, a lot of the things whereby we don't think about, all right, like unconscious, be like bodily functions. And actually, there are other things. Okay, I'm just using bodily functions. Actually, a lot of things that are going on in our body, everything is being is being controlled and managed by the unconscious mind part. Alright, so I put down that bodily functions. The reason I put etc. is because there are other stuff that's going on. Okay, for example, energy systems. So for those of you who are familiar with our energy healing work, even our unconscious mind or the brain, right, the unconscious brain of it, right, will actually handle our energy systems that is in our body. So this is not known to people. So all these things we don't have to think about. Okay. Now what is going to be interesting is for the subconscious mind. Now for the subconscious mind is the undiscerning mind. I call it undiscerning. So there's a lot of research into this, and there's a huge field that is catered into manipulating the subconscious mind. All right, and the field is called neuro-linguistic programming (NLP). All right, NLP. All right, so a lot of people work with NLP. They're working with the subconscious mind. Now, the most important property of the subconscious mind is the fact that it is undiscerning. Okay, so in the undiscerning means it cannot tell right from wrong, all right, fact from fiction. Okay, so that is the subconscious mind. So our brain itself can create minds and operate at different levels. So it's very strange. So people actually can have instances whereby consciously they think they want something, but subconsciously, due to their programming, the influences from society, because all those influences from society, everything, it can go into the subconscious mind. Okay, and the unconscious mind is generally something very deep. Okay, it's something very deep, bodily functions, and it goes to energy systems, and it can actually go beyond that. That is the very interesting part. Okay, so basically, first of all, what I want to establish is when we're talking about us human experiencing consciousness in general, everything is brain-based. Even all this is brain-based. Okay, now to complicate things further, which I did mention in the previous talk about what happens to our consciousness when we die, we have another consciousness which is in our body. All right, so we call it the energy form. All right, it's an energy consciousness that is independent of this, independent of the brain. All right, so is an energy form, and for lack of better term, I will use the it is all right. For lack of better term, all right, it is like the soul. There is a invisible soul or energy form of consciousness that is also within the human body. Okay, and this soul is something that is very clearly is a spirit. Is a spirit, is spiritual, is of energy, and it is not linked. I repeat, it is not linked. I mean, it is okay. It's linked, but it is independent. It can be entirely independent of this. That means whatever is going on in your mind, this other consciousness, which is your soul, all right, it can have links, but it is totally capable, all right, of having its own awareness and decision making, and it knows, it is aware of itself as a self that is distinct from you or from us, the physical being. So there is this thing, all right. So now all this mind and everything, it comes under energy, but ultimately, okay, I can actually park it over here, physical, but I'm just trying to illustrate that in the end, the mind can go into the energy realm. All right, you can go into the energy realm, and you already have a soul that is of energy, invisible energy that has consciousness that is also within the body. Now, this is the two most fundamental things that you need to understand about consciousness. Now, and it's going to get complicated. It can get more complicated from here. All right. So, what I'm going to say is this. So, the soul is something that is spiritual, and it will have access to invisible realms. All right. It will have access. It will have familiarity with the spiritual realms, with the spiritual world that is around us. Okay, and so you have the conscious mind. For us, when we're operating this, you have the subconscious mind. Now, subconscious mind is just an undiscerning mind. Okay, let me just elaborate a little about this. Okay, subconscious mind, for those of you who study NLP and all those, is where if you're into those self-improvement, those are self-improvement courses and everything. A lot of them use NLP methods, or they have methods that work with the subconscious mind. So, for example, so let's say you go for a self-improvement course or a motivational course. Now, some of them, they will have this thing, and then they do something like this. They will tell you to reset your mind, especially your subconscious mind, by repeating words that are positive to yourself every day. Either you go and look in the mirror, all right, every day you go and look in the mirror and say, I'm the best looking, I'm the top salesman, I'm the most attractive woman in office, and I'm going to get my guy, or something like that. I'm going to be the best salesman, I'm going to bring in, I'm going to be the number one salesman, bringing all the sales for the company, I'm going to be a high-performing employee. So people, and of course, there are also those who use it for, attraction, and even if they are not, conventionally, they are not physically attractive, but just look and tell yourself, I'm the most attractive. Look in the mirror, I'm the most attractive. And you do a smile or whatever. And now, because the subconscious mind is undiscerning, it cannot tell fact from fiction. All right, you can actually you feed your subconscious mind until your subconscious mind is convinced. You keep on plugging every day. So there are people who do audio tapes. All right, that means they make a recording onto tapes, or of course CDs, or nowadays it's just just a device, your phone or whatever. Make a recording, and in the recording you play while you sleep, and the recording can keep on repeating. I'm the best. I'm best in performance, best in terms of looks, in terms of gonna get rich, and all those kind of things. Keep on playing it, and as you sleep, you let all those things go into your mind. So there are people who use those type of methods, and those type of methods are working with the subconscious mind. Okay. So now here I'm going to point out a little bit. Now, our unconscious mind run a lot of stuff. So I mentioned the bodily functions thing, but it also runs some of these things which are unknown to us, are energy systems. All right, and our energy system and everything, they has a connection here to the soul. All right, so it's possible that should we connect with the unconscious mind, or should we somehow manage, right? We want to examine this connection over here, all right, between the soul and the unconscious mind, because now how it all works now. So this unconscious mind is linked to the soul and everything. Okay, so we need to experience. Okay, we are going to talk about different experiences of consciousness. So in our normal everyday life, we are only experiencing this and strongly influenced by this, and there is also some influence to this. How are we going to experience other things? So we need to have a simple understanding. So this is the brain base, it's the physical base, but it generates something that is energetic in form. And then we have this energy. So something that has awareness, but it's not physical form. Okay, this is now. So this way you go into spiritual realms and everything. Now, not only that, so I'm just going to write over here, so you can go into like spiritual realms. And of course, spiritual beings. And the soul can experience different aspects of itself. So, for example, chakras. So, the chakras is actually something that is created by the soul. Okay, and it is possible for once you get in touch with this, you can have consciousness, you can experience different aspects of yourself from a different point of view of the chakras. It's quite interesting. Okay, so let me try to make it easy for everyone to understand. Okay, so first of all, brain based, and this is energy based from the soul, and from the soul you can access different things. Okay, so let's talk about different experiences of consciousness. Let me take a look at some of your questions in case they are relevant. Is consciousness a form of energy? Okay, so Stephanie asks, is consciousness a form of energy? So depends how you want to define this energy. All right, so as I explained, this part here is the energy consciousness, which is the soul. Now, if you want to talk about the brain, the consciousness that is generated by the brain, the mind, and so on, this thing also has energy, because without the energy from the physical body, this thing cannot work. All right, so it depends how you define it. But the way I'm trying to define is there is something that is physical based, whereby if something happens to the brain gets, get a stroke or gets smashed, it dies, right? The person dies, the brain goes, and then all this will go. All this will get wiped out. All right? But this one, the energy, the soul part, is independent. All right? And I mentioned in the previous topic about the what happens to our consciousness when we die, right? What is the use of this with relation to this? Okay, so that the consciousness from here can transfer to here. So all this is mentioned in the previous video. So this is the basic thing. All right, and in general, it's energy. Everybody's asking which consciousness our karma energy is stored. So that's a very good question. So now, this part of the brain consciousness is not perpetual. That means it does not exist for eternity. It will go when our physical body goes. Correct? So anything that is required for so-called vehicle of karma, right? It needs to be able to last longer than our physical body. So karma and everything is all stored in this, but this one, remember, okay, it can be independent. Everybody's asking, trans person is conscious or unconscious? It depends. So trans got different levels from conscious to unconscious. Or do we ask quite a number of questions? What consciousness are we in when we connect to God? What consciousness are spirits in? Why evil spirits have the ability to affect our subconscious so easily? What consciousness is activated when dreaming? Wow. Okay. Okay, so first of all, let's talk about it here first. Okay, so I think I look at the questions, I get where you are going. All right, now here's how I want to help explain. So first of all, there is a brain base, and then there is the soul base or the energy base, and these two can be independent of each other. All right, can be independent of each other, but they are linked. So obviously, whatever is going on in the mind will affect the what's going on here. What's going on here can affect, but they can still be separate, as in consciously you may be thinking of something as a person, as this physical being, as the human, you can be thinking of something, but the soul, because it's purely energy form, it can be thinking of something else which and its priority will be different from yours. Because for most of us, as a physical being, our needs, our concerns are very physical. Correct? When are we going to eat? When are we going to have sex? You know, when am I going to sleep? Or when I'm going to have fun? Right? All these are very physical experiences that have to be experienced by the body, through the body, right? And everything is due to the body. So we understand a lot of our world through these physical senses that we are very used to. Now, the energy, the soul, will be different, right? It is not so concerned with the physical limitations. It will want to do good and so on, right? You want to make a difference, something like that. All right. So you have the soul, and then you have the physical base one. Now, what I want to talk about are the different experiences of consciousness. So the question is, how can we experience other, how can we experience consciousness beyond what people normally experience? And the answer is very simple. All right, answer is very simple. We all need to do some meditation. All right. Now the key part of the access is going to happen here in the unconscious mind. The unconscious mind knows what is going on, but the instructions for what's going to happen, right, must come from the conscious mind. Okay, so I'm going to talk a little bit about the mind using an analogy that I always teach in my classes. So let me So I'm going to color code things. So this is going to be conscious mind is going to be blue color. The unconscious is going to be red color. So the analogy I often use is the truck analogy. All right, this is supposed to be a truck. All right, something like a truck, something like a pickup truck. So what you're going to have is going to have a driver driving the truck. All right. So the driver blue color is representative of the conscious mind. The red color is representative of the unconscious. So the unconscious is like there are a lot of things going on, but we have no idea how it works. We have no idea how our body temperature is being regulated. I mean, some of the doctors know to a certain degree, but we have, largely, if I would ask you as a conscious person, do you know how it works? You don't know. So it's kind of like, when we drive cars or vehicles, we know how to drive doesn't mean we know how the vehicle works, right? If I would ask you, how does your car work? Right? Do you understand how the engine pistons and how everything moves, how the firing, the petrol mixing and so on? Most people don't know, right? You don't need to know because everything is being taken care of by the unconscious mind. So you're thinking of the vehicle takes care of itself. You as the driver just need to get in and know how to start the engine and drive, which is way much simpler. You don't need to know the instruction manual or anything. You don't need to know how it works. You just need to take care of the vehicle, right? You take care of your brain, your mind, and the unconscious mind will take care of everything for you. So this is the most important analogy here. Now, then there is a subconscious mind. The subconscious mind will be the flatbed at the of the truck. Now, the subconscious mind is the flatbed of the truck. So the flatbed of the truck is open, right? So it's open, that means people can throw things inside, right? Can throw rubbish inside. And you as a driver can power on, can throw something to the back of the truck too. You can fill up the back of the truck. The point being is the truck is open, all right? So a lot of people can throw stuff, so it's going to be, you know, it comes from society, media, so on, all right? So, and some people are asking, so other things is like spirits can affect us, good or bad. It can have access to the subconscious mind because the subconscious mind is undiscerning. The big problem here is it's undiscerning, all right? And it's open, so things can just pile on. So that's why, you know, a lot of us are very affected by marketing, by society and everything, because there's a lot of subliminal messages, a lot of messages going in. You know, people who are in the advertising industry, all right, people in the advertising industry, those of you who've done online advertisement, you notice, for example, like online ads, they measure one of the metrics for ads in online ads is impression. They bill you for how many times. That you that the customers view your ad. Now it doesn't matter if they stay there long or they click on it or not, but the impression counts. So all these are subconscious, all right? It's subconscious because the more you see it, and the more your subconscious becomes familiar, and even though it's something that you don't like, but because you keep on seeing it, the impression, it counts in your subconscious, eventually you will be accustomed to it and you eventually also will like it. Okay? So this is the model regarding conscious, subconscious, unconscious. Now, what is important is, at the end of the day, is the driver, the conscious mind that gives instructions. Okay, the conscious mind that gives instructions. So, if we want to experience consciousness that is beyond the conscious mind, beyond the body, all right, we as the conscious person, with it, right, making the decisions, we must give instruction to meditate and somehow connect such that we can experience other aspects of consciousness in the body. Or, all right, from within the body, it is possible to go, see, this is all within the body, is going outside the body. And Stephanie is asking, so entities have consciousness, what about group consciousness or Christ consciousness? And Edie is asking, memories of near-death experiences from the brain or from the energy soul? Okay. Now, I'm just going to talk a little bit about the talk that I did a few months back about what happens to our consciousness when we die. Okay, so what happens to our consciousness when we die is, so essentially, at the very basic, we have two main type of consciousness. One is brain-based, physical-based, and one is energy-based, or the vehicle is the soul. All right. So the brain-based one will end when we die. But the soul, the energy, the spiritual form, can perpetuate beyond our physical death. And there is a mechanism upon death, all right, given that people die properly, not sudden death or whatever, there's a mechanism whereby when this consciousness switches off, right, this consciousness will come into the brain so that whatever memories are in the brain, whatever consciousness that is experiencing, or whatever you are experiencing, so initially you will experience as a physical person, but upon death, right, there is a mechanism for this one to come and merge with the consciousness that is brain-based. Alright, then the brain shuts down, but the consciousness is merged with this, and then the soul can go on. Alright, so initially there is two consciousness. Can you see? I'm keeping things simple, yeah? So most people are only experiencing things at this level, and unless we choose to meditate. So otherwise, these two can be independent and distinct. Now, at the point of death, alright, this one will come and take the consciousness, alright, and there's a mechanism that is actually built into the physicality of the brain. Alright, it's talked about in the other video. So this one will come and take this consciousness such that when the brain dies, alright, this one will go. And this is why people have near-death experiences. So someone, right, Eileen asking me about the near-death experience. So the near-death experience happens because people who are near-death experience, what do they experience? From a physical experience, they begin to experience the energy, the spiritual, correct? They will see spiritual beings, spiritual realms, and so on. What happens is because they experience this, alright, at the point of death, this one comes and then take it and then they go. Otherwise, it's not possible. Alright, otherwise, in general, it's not possible because people are stuck in the brain base, and the only way you can cross over is by doing some meditation, certain type of meditation, alright, such that you can experience beyond your physical body. Okay? So, Stephanie is asking, can we telepathically connect to other people's consciousness? Yes, we can. Yes, we can. Okay, so Dewey's questions. What consciousness are we in when we are connected to God? What consciousness are spirits in? So spirits, they are a consciousness that is energy-based. They have awareness, decision-making, but it is possible to have consciousness that is not physical-based. All right, so we have, as human, we have physical-based, but we also have energy or soul-based. All right, there's two actually within us. Okay, so and the soul is, you can consider as a spirit, right? So the spirit is aware, have its own consciousness, but there are other spirits that are not, for example, they are not assigned to a human body, right? They are not supposed to be a human body. They can be ghosts and all, or they've lost, they are dead, right? They are from deceased. They are souls of the deceased, the departed, that never return to light, so they will exist separately. Okay. Why evil spirits have the ability to affect our subconscious so easily is because of this. It's not just evil spirits can affect our subconscious. Our subconscious gets affected by everything, everybody. Until we train our brain or mind, our subconscious mind, not to be so open. Right? So it needs training. So otherwise, the subconscious mind is open and it gets stuff come in from everything and everywhere. So we are very affected by all kinds of things, including words that people say, words that people don't say, even thoughts. Even thoughts can affect here. All right. So like Stephanie was asking about telepathically connection. All right. Even telepathic connection, people cannot. Most people don't have telepathy, right? So, but if you're here sending you telepathic thoughts, you can kind of get it subconsciously. So what consciousness are we in when we connected to God? So when we connected to God, it will be here. All right, it will be here. But what I'm trying to say is this. I'm trying to say, if we want to experience here, the instruction must come from the conscious mind all right, and we need to enter meditative states, go through meditation, so that we can access all this beneath the conscious mind, so that we can go here and into the spiritual realm. Now, and when it goes here, now, so someone was asking about the what's the term she used? Group consciousness, yes. Group consciousness, Christ consciousness. So Christ consciousness is like spiritual being, divine, all those, so it's outside here. But like group consciousness, so you can have group consciousness and everything. So all this is outside. It is not consciousness within the human body, but it's all outside the body. Alright, and it can only be accessed through here or through the unconscious mind. It's from the unconscious mind that links to the invisible. Okay, so what I would like to do, all right, is to talk a little bit about how and why, for people who are very interested, how you can take some of our practices. Like, so for people who are really very interested, we can apply our standard meditation practices. So we have two meditation practices, which is one is light meditation, the other one is non-attachment meditation. Now, the nature of the soul, this spirit, is of light. Okay, it's of light, invisible light. And when we do our kind of light meditation, all right, it can strengthen our connection. It can strengthen this light and our connection between our brain-based mind and the spirit form or the soul and our soul. All right, so that is our light meditation. Now, it is generally not easy to experience this. Now, to experience this, that is going beyond. All right, light meditation does help, because for those of you who know how we do light meditation, we have to shine and expand the light. All right, and we are shining and expanding the light. We're creating a safe space. We are creating a safe space for the positive aspects of this to happen. So I do have to point out that this going into this outside the body is something that can be very dangerous, and there are people who encounter spirits that are not too good, or I'll say it outright, evil spirits. So depending on the kind of meditation that you do, all right, if you're trying to attempt something like this, there are many people who meditate to try and attempt something like this, all right, to experience consciousness and all the fascinating stuff, to go astral traveling. It is generally very dangerous. But for us, light meditation, we have the protocol itself is designed so to minimize this type of risk. All right. Now, I still would emphasize that the main emphasis of light meditation, all right, is to strengthen positivity in oneself. All right. For those people who are very interested into going into all this, if you have mastered the basics, then everything can start from our basic types of meditation. It can go into all this, into beyond. Okay, but we need the basic foundation. So for the very basic foundation of like light meditation, you have to strengthen the light and everything to provide a safe space for safe experiences to happen during your meditation, because all this can happen. Now the other thing, the other meditation that is very beneficial, all right, very beneficial to experience other consciousness than your this conscious mind, all right, is the non-attachment meditation. Those of you who have attended our non-attachment meditation, basically you learn not to be attached to many things. Now, and one of the things that is good not to be so attached to, all right, I will do mention in my standard class, is not to be so attached to the physical body, all right, and not to be so attached to the mind too. So when we let go of, so basically when we do meditation, right, the instructions, everything is coming. We have instructions during meditation, like, mind the breath and watch the breath. It starts from a conscious instruction. All right, but as you do it, as the brain slows down and everything, we can access the subconscious and the unconscious. Yeah. Now, in non-attachment meditation, as we let go of our attachment to mundane stuff, all right, to mundane stuff, to the physical and so on, all right, we can transcend, all right, we can transcend our physical or brain-based consciousness to go into the unconscious and to experience things that are beyond the physical body. All right, and typically for those of you who are interested, so we actually have a protocol to do it, and all this is based on our three core practices. So our three core practices, I always tell people is, first of all, you need to do Unity Qigong. Before we meditate, typically we start with Unity Qigong. All right, Unity Qigong will strengthen all the positive energies, make sure you healthy, release negative energies, and so on. And from UQ, normally we will go to next. We do light meditation. All right, light meditation. And light meditation will establish positivity. All right, will generate positivity, will generate light. Okay, we create a very safe space within the ball of light that we are in. Okay, and it's all positive energies. So this will help make sure that to provide a safe space to minimize risk of all the bad things that can happen. All right, and typically from here, all right, we will go into non-attachment meditation. For those of you who know our practices, all right, this is a standard way that we teach it on in our retreats, whether it's online or in person. And these are our core practices, and those of you who are people who are learning in Unity from us, right, this is the core practice. Okay, so UQ, light meditation, non-attachment meditation. So you have established your light, and then you go into non-attachment, and you let go of attachments, because it is our attachments that confine us to this experience. Understand? So a lot of people, because of our attachment, they are very confined to a physical type of experience. And if you want to talk about different types of consciousness, so this thing go way out. All right, you can spiritual realm, spiritual beings, different group consciousness, and so on. Someone mentioned group consciousness, right? All this is only possible when we let go of our attachment, especially to the physical self, all right, and to a lot of our issues, the things that are limiting our mind. So now the whole idea of meditating is we need to let go of the burdens of the mind. Many of us are very stressed. Yes, we are very stressed, and we're always thinking about work or whatever problems that we are facing, that we anticipate. We even anticipate problems in the future or problems of the past, memories, and so on. So all these are attachments that clutter and limit our brain mind. So the only way, right, to go beyond all that is to let go, all right, and to train our brain mind to go beyond the standard physical experiences. One more question. Are there consciousness floating in the universe? Now, Stephanie, so just to be clear, all right, so when you have a consciousness as spirit form, it's just a spirit, and all right, so how so it can be floating, but eventually if it has awareness, it has ability, it can move, just like any other spirit or entity, depending how you call it. Okay, so this is quite a tough topic to tackle. I hope I managed to clear the air somewhat. Now, do you have any questions? Did I manage to put forward to clear the air about this? So consciousness is not what it seems. Okay, now when I talked about this earlier, is when I forwarded this thing to ask people to come and listen, one of the things I said was, consciousness is not what it seems. We all think that we are very in control, All right, but if you talk to psychologists and psychiatrists, they will tell you, about the subconscious mind and the unconscious mind, and that it's not so simple. Now I'm telling you a little bit further. All right, so in my line of work where we work with energy and spirits and so on, all right, there is actually another aspect within the body, but it can be independently. It's not reliant on the body at all, right? That will give us spiritual experiences or experiences of consciousness that is even outside the body. There is like consciousness, so like group consciousness that is even outside the body. Now, so I just mentioned a little bit of stuff here like chakras. There are people, for example, they can meditate until they experience the chakras as a distinct consciousness, but the chakras itself comes from the soul, so it's like an aspect. It's more like an aspect of itself. And it's very interesting. You can meditate until you experience your mind, a higher level of mind, as the unconscious mind can have its own awareness. Its own awareness. And if you meditate separately, so you have the unconscious mind, and you can meditate until it's possible to experience the consciousness of your brain as itself. Not you, your brain as an organ, it kind of have its consciousness because the brain is capable of thinking. All right, it has a sense of self as the organ inside our skull. It's very interesting. You can experience that. But before we can do all that, all right, to do it, we need to let go. Okay, first of all, before we even let go, we need to create a safe space, and that's why we have this type of protocol. All right, like with the light meditation, and then we need to let go of our limitations, our attachments that confine us to a limited experience of life, of consciousness. Stephanie said, thanks, Kat. Not an easy topic to cover in 1 hour where scholars would talk and argue for years. Yes, not easy, but I'm trying to cover it from a very fundamental level. All right, and I will also have to say this. Okay, I'm giving very basic stuff because this is not meant to be like a guided thing, and I don't want people to try things on their own when they're not ready. But a lot of people talk about meditation for all these style of consciousness experiences and everything, and I'm here to explain, at least from our point of view, our experience and our methods, how it is done. Cora is saying, so light meditation, because it helps with positivity, can more directly assist with law of attraction. Yes. So Cora, if you remember in module 2, we actually covered the law of attraction and manifestation, and it's directly linked to the light. All right, it's directly linked to the light. So the light is very important. Our light, our aura, is what helps with law of attraction. So Cassandra is asking, so the chakra was made by the soul, so the chakra should have a protective mechanism to protect our subconscious. But why do I feel the subconscious is challenging to be protected? So Cassandra, the subconscious, there is a default setting. So the subconscious default setting is like this, it's open. All right, it is open. And I think, there's probably a function, there's probably a purpose for it to be like that, so that we can have a lot of things going into our mind and be affected. Maybe I'm not quite sure why it's like that, but it is like that. All right, and to go beyond the standard setting, there is a lot of mental training to do. All right, and meditation is one of the mental trainings, but meditation is not just one type, right? It depends on what you are trying to do. So as the conscious person giving the instructions, you can do different type of meditation according to different things that you want to achieve. Okay. Joy is asking, if the brain has its consciousness, would each of our body organs have their own consciousness? Now, actually, that's a very good question. The organs all have a sense of, it has its own sense. All right, but because they are not an organ that is capable of cognitive ability, right? So it doesn't have consciousness in the sense that it is capable of awareness and decision making the way our brain is. But our brain really have the capacity to make decisions. So in that way, our brain's awareness or brain's level of consciousness is a true consciousness compared to like our organs, all right, that will that ultimately is actually being controlled by our brain, all right, by our brain mind, especially the unconscious part. But it can have a sense because it's always working by itself. It has some sense of itself as a discrete thing, okay, but it's not capable of making decisions, right? Yeah, your stomach can't make decisions. It's just it moves as itself and everything, and everything is being run by the brain. Okay. Any other questions? Yes, quite a tough topic. What I want to specify is this, okay, that consciousness is not just what you think. It's not just what you normally experience. Okay, yes, Cassandra, I have one more question. Go ahead. Okay, so while we're waiting for Cassandra to type it out, so what I was saying is, my main message is, most people are experiencing consciousness at a very surface level, and that is fine, all right, and that is perfectly normal. But there is a huge realm of experiences that goes beyond this thing, okay, goes beyond this. This is just very, very basic. There is the subconscious, unconscious mind, and from here, the access into the energetic consciousness that we have in our body, and from there, out, beyond and beyond. Okay, so it goes crazy. So if any one of you who read about the different meditation experiences, it really seems out of this world, because it is out of this world. It's out of body, it's out of this world, and it's entirely possible, all right, because the access is through here, all right, unconscious mind, and then through the spirit vehicle. Coral saying, thank you, Kat, working on attracting goodness and other things. Still need to work on NAM. Yes, non-attachment meditation. So Cassandra is asking, if unconscious cannot be controlled, so I'm going to be affected by collective unconscious of all the time. You need to rephrase that. If unconscious mind cannot be controlled, so I'm going to be affected by collective unconscious of. So I'm going to be affected by collective unconscious all the time, right? Okay. Yes, there is a collective unconscious. So right, so there's this group consciousness and group unconsciousness or whatever. All right, and yes, it's possible we are also being affected by that. That is something that is real. All right, and we are actually also affected, but it's something that's very subtle. And you know, if I were to talk about it, most people are not going to be able to experience it. So my main message is, consciousness is not as simple as what you think. And there's all these things that's going on. And the only way for people to experience it is to meditate. And the whole idea of meditation is, first of all, you create a safe space. You need to make sure it's a safe space for these type of things to happen, because this can get very dangerous when you go into this, right? So evil spirits are real, and that, you know, that's my work. I help people deal with evil spirits, black magic, that kind of thing. Okay, so the main message is, if you want all this, you need to do it correctly in your meditation. Set a safe space, and you need to start to learn to let go of your attachments. All right. Probably at the beginning of your journey, you are not into fascinating stuff about all this. It should be about your own mental and emotional health. That should always be the first and most, I dare say, your most important objective of meditation. You start with that, all right? And for people who become, who go beyond that, this is what is possible, and you will start experiencing different consciousness, right? That is whether it is brain or physical based or even outside your body. Chorus asking, need strong will, strong values of goodness. So are you talking about experiencing all these other consciousness, other aspects of consciousness and all? So the main thing, right, Coral, is yeah, you kind of need strong will to meditate. And for us, when we do light meditation, a lot of focus is on goodness. Yes. And now, yes, I've been talking about all this consciousness stuff, but I really, the whole idea is not to get you all to try to go there. I'm talking about what is possible, and as this is as a follow-up, right, to one of the previous videos where I talk about what happened to our consciousness when we die. And what I'm trying to say is, a lot of people ask me questions after having, attending our meditation sessions, and they experience a lot of things. So you might be wondering what's going on, and so this is what is going on. Okay. Stephanie, consciousness and awareness. We are only aware of what we are conscious, right? Then we will have to know what our subconscious and unconscious through meditation and improve ourselves. I think that's also my takeaway. Yes, sort of. So Cora is replying to Stephanie there. No, I don't think so. We have a sixth sense that can alert us to dangers in my experience. Yes, that is also true. Now, so consciousness and awareness, okay, they're very linked, and the point that Stephanie is trying to make, then we will have to try to know what our subconscious and unconscious through meditation and improve ourselves. Now, if I would say it's not absolutely necessary that we need to know our subconscious and unconscious. That is not actually so necessary. Okay. My advice is this: start small, start basic. All right. Do whatever meditation you do, and try to achieve the basics of achieving peace, emotionally, and also clarity in mind. Okay, for those of you who are really interested to learn more about meditation or how to take meditation before what is a superficial level, all right, you can join our retreat. We have online retreat that is ongoing all the time because it's based on recordings. You can just watch it. It's a free donation basis. All right, those of you who are interested in attending physical retreats with us, we have one at the end of the year, this year, all right? So it'll be 27th December to 1st January 2025, all right? 27th December 2024 to 1st January of 2025. It will be held in Chiang Mai, all right? Those of you who are in our groups, you will see the information there. Otherwise, you can contact us, and also it's somewhere on our website, our Facebook. Okay, it's somewhere there. Last question from Cassandra. Yes. I used to be able to control myself in dream state. For a few months, I can't control. I feel I'm tossed in collective unconsciousness. Okay, so for people who've been meditating, or people who are very sensitive to energies or to the spiritual realms, you can experience something like this. So that's why in our practices, we always emphasize on all this, right? This protocol, this is the most basic thing that we teach people. Right? And generally we do from UQ to light meditation to non-attachment meditation, right? Unity Qigong, light meditation, non-attachment meditation. Now, if if these things are designed such that you strengthen your energies first, and you strengthen your mind before going into any of this, right? So the idea is this. So with all this, you strengthen your energies, you strengthen your mind with the practice, all right, of doing the meditation, and then so that when should all this happen, or should you choose to go into this direction, it is safe to do so, right? Now, for people who are very sensitive to energies or the spiritual realm and spirits and all this, you may find that when your energies and your mind is not so strong, then and you have affinity with all this, it can be overwhelming and you can lose control. So you need to be more in the driver's seat. So as a conscious person giving the instructions, all right, you must tell yourself what you want and what you don't want. You want to stay within the body, for example. Does it make sense? All right, because like all this that you're experiencing is beyond the body already. So a very simple instruction for people who are experiencing all these type of things is you can tell yourself, I want to experience right within the body. I want my experiences to be within the body, for example. The people who are experiencing too much of these type of things, okay, it's not to say that you will not experience them, but with a simple instruction like, I want to confine my experience to within the body, all right, then even if these things are happening, it will not be so strong, all right, it will not affect you too much, okay, but you must still establish the condition, all right, so our condition is to make sure that you're positive in terms of energy, and you want to let go of your attachments which are confining you, and which typically attachments cause us to be more negative, right, and it limits our vibration and our light, okay. So with that, I suppose that is the last question. I thank you everyone for joining me. We overshot a little bit. Okay, so if you feel that you've benefited from this talk, please do consider to make a donation. All right, how to make a donation will be in the groups. In Facebook, is actually under the featured or announcement section of the group. All right. So thank you for joining me, and I hope to see you again. Those of you who are interested in meditation and our practices, tomorrow night, okay, same time at 9 p.m. Malaysia, China time, I'll be teaching Unity Qigong, all right, the first of our standard practices. So I hope to see everyone again, all right, tomorrow or some other time. Have a good day, good night, and goodbye.